Hi, this is Phil at LoveQuicksilver.com. In my first screencast, I promised some tips to make using Quicksilver easier. So here's a quick one to get us started. As you see, if you look at my dock, you see that Quicksilver is not running right now. So what's the best way to launch Quicksilver when it's not running? Well, one way is to use Spotlight. You see Quicksilver's there in the list of applications. I can just press Enter to get that to launch. But also I like to keep Quicksilver in the dock. I click the icon there and drag it down to the dock. I'm going to put it next to the Finder icon so it's always in the same place when I want to launch it. Click the icon and Quicksilver will launch. Now, experienced Quicksilver users like to use Quicksilver for most of the launching functions, so I'm going to hide the dock for today. Today I want to give you some quick tips on the Preferences panel. Now, the best way to launch Preferences is to invoke Quicksilver and hit Command comma. You see that the Preferences panel opens. Now, Quicksilver's preferences is so complicated, even the Preferences pane has a Preferences pane. Hopefully in later versions of Quicksilver the Preferences panel will be simplified. But for now we're going to look at the Preferences panel and specifically Application, Command and Extras sidebar items. So first let's look at the Application item. First thing I'm going to do is click Start at Login. If you regularly use Quicksilver, you want it to be there when you launch your computer. Now, some users of Lion have reported that Quicksilver doesn't start on launch of their computer. Possibly a problem with solid-state drives. Computers are launching too fast and Quicksilver can't keep up. Now, it's a known issue. Hopefully that'll be fixed in later versions. But for now, we'll check it anyway because in principle that's what we'd like to happen. Next thing we're going to change is Show icon in the dock. Now if we hit Command Tab, look at the application switcher, you'll see Quicksilver is there on the left. Now because we invoke Quicksilver using Command Space, we don't really need to have it in the application switcher, so I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that. Now some of these options require a relaunch. I'm going to hit later because there's a couple of other things that need the same action. Next, show icon in the menu bar. I'm going to put that to left. So again, it's always where I can see it right there next to, as it happens, my Dropbox icon. And also I'm going to include access to full contents of menu bar. If we go up and have a look at the options available at the moment, so you've got some basic preference options there, help and also Quicksilver. I'll check this item. As you can see, there's a line inside a circle, which means Quicksilver requires a relaunch for that to take effect. So let's do that now. And the best way to relaunch Quicksilver is to hold down Command, Control, and Q. Now, as of beta 63, you get this dialog when Quicksilver is quit. Unfortunately, it's a little bit sensitive. It tends to appear any time that Quicksilver is quit without using Command Q. So we know that Quicksilver didn't crash, we just tried to relaunch it, so I'm going to hit Do Nothing. And if we go back up to the menu bar icon, you see we've got some extra items there. The same one as before, but also plugins. We've got Clipboard History and Shelf if you have those installed. And a few other items there. Now I tend to use the interface to get to most of these items, but they're handy to have up in the menu bar if you ever need them. Next, check for updates. Quicksilver is now updated from qsapp.com. And you'll find that you can get updates automatically from the website. So I'm going to check that. I guess weekly is sufficient for most people's needs. can always click Now and see if there's any current versions waiting to be updated. As you can see, I have the current version 3912, which is beta 63, so no need to do anything there. Next, we're going to check the command item. Here we have lots of options. You can see hotkey activation can be changed. I've got it set to command space. The next thing I'm going to change is the spacebar behavior. At the moment it's set to normal. That means if I invoke Quicksilver and type using a space, for example Q and space, you see the QuickTime player is found in the catalog as it has a Q and a space in the name. Now I find that I don't really use the space bar to search for items, so I'm going to go ahead and change that. I'm going to select the third item, which is jump to argument field. Now this option means that when I invoke Quicksilver and search, for example address book, hit space, you'll see that the pane to action changes to, in this case, open with. Now basically what jump to argument field does is that it selects the first action that requires a pane 3 in Quicksilver. And often these kind of actions, as you'll see next to my cursor, that have an ellipsis. An ellipsis usually means that pane 3 is needed to complete the command. So I flick over to pane 3. Now one program that can open address book is Apple Script Editor. There you'll see that address book's scripting dictionary opens in Apple Script Editor. I find this very useful because I use Apple Script quite a lot. Now the other options are very useful, but these can all be found using other keyboard shortcuts. For example, select the next result can be found using the down arrow, switch text mode with the period key, and show items contents with the right arrow. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that on jump to argument field. The next thing I'm going to change is the reset search after time. At the moment it's 2 seconds. That means if I invoke Quicksilver, type QT, you'll see that QuickTime is found in the catalog, and you can see the search there, QT, under the interface window. Now it's been longer than 2 seconds since I did that search, so if I type AD, you see the QT has disappeared and left AD in its place. And as usual I get address book for that search. If I type the two strings faster than 2 seconds, you'll see that they're added together, so QTAD. You can see that the search string has turned red. It didn't actually find any items, it just left the previous catalog item that perhaps I found with QTA. Let's try QTA. Yeah, QTA finds this game that I downloaded from the App Store. Now I find 2 seconds is quite a long time to wait if I want to use a new search string, so I'm going to go ahead and change that to 1 second. I find that 1 second is not so fast that I lose my search string when I'm typing, but quick enough that I don't have to wait long if I want to find something else. Also, wait before searching. By default that's set to 0.1 seconds. Now this is probably left over from when Quicksilver was quite a new application and computers were a bit slower. It used to be that Quicksilver would take a little while to find objects from the catalog for pane 1. These days computers are pretty fast, so Quicksilver is pretty instantaneous when it's finding objects, so I'm going to go ahead and set that to 0 so Quicksilver can find things I'm looking for as quickly as possible. Lastly, we're going to have a quick look at the extras pane. There's a lot of things here. I'm not going to go into too much detail. In fact, I'm just going to change one item today, which is this one. Pressing delete 2 times will clear the current object. invoke Quicksilver. If I go to the desktop, you'll see that I have two files in there, iTunes Library ITL and iTunes Library XML. And if I search for eggs, you'll see that it's found just the one file there, my XML file. Hit delete. It'll clear the search string at the moment, which is an X. And if I type again, for example, I, you'll see it's found both files there because both files contain an I. Now I can hit delete as many times as I like, but when I search, I'm still within the desktop folder. So if I select this item, invoke Quicksilver again, go to the desktop again, press right arrow, and search for X. Sure enough, I still find the XML file. This time I hit delete and delete again. Quicksilver pane was cleared completely, and when I search now, I should find any item within Quicksilver's catalog. So in the last example I used I. Let's hit I. There you see I found iTunes, which is in the top level catalog, and also lots of other items there that could be useful. Third in the list I have iCal. That's it for this screencast. There's lots of other options there. Perhaps we'll go into those another time. But for now, thanks for watching. Okay, you can talk.